garage. I turned the garage into a. Anyways. Oh, we're live. You just let me ramble on about
who
my
else was a
building
carpenter?
accomplishments.
Jesus
Can
Christ.
you roll the?
He built this cross. He died for your sins.
He built this city.
Yeah, it was my grandmother's, so I keep it around to remember.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It is Thursday at approximately 5:05, 5:06 Eastern Time, and Clickbait Sports is here once again to pollute your minds and soul and body. We got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about which coach is likely to survive, as seen on the thumbnail. Which one is going to eat the other person? My money is on Nathaniel Hackett eating Josh McDaniels. We're going to talk about that. We're going to preview the Thursday night football game. We got a guest today. And so we got a guest. A little Beauty and the Beast kind of thing. That's the BR guest reference. It's a thing. We're going to talk about how this Buffalo game has just been moved to Detroit. So RIP to all the ACLs being played in that game. But first, before we get to any of that, let's go around. First, we got the man who's looking so spiffy with a brand new haircut. That's right. He teased it on GPS on Wednesday. And now here he is in his final form. Look at those lines.
Thank you. Thank you. That's quite the introduction. I appreciate it.
You got a haircut, Adam?
Actually, I got them all cut.
Just a waxing.
Just a full-on wax.
Just a wax.
He got buffed with a little TST job.
Gets
that sheen going.
Looking good, Perna. Looking good.
Thanks, guys.
It is looking very good. Very dapper.
I feel good.
Is that all it takes to feel good as a haircut?
Has to look respectable.
I'd let you take my mom to prom with that haircut.
Yeah. Ooh.
All right, Zach Wilson.
Mrs. Grouse.
Yeah.
I will take you to TGI Fridays for dinner. We will go to prom, and then afterwards, I will have you home an hour before Tom even wants.
Did anyone go to prom in this group besides Scooter?
Twice.
We all know.
I was.
Did you go twice too,
but I
Berta?
did go.
Yeah.
I went
y'all,
twice.
I'm the only one that didn't go.
Honestly, I wouldn't have gone to prom if I wasn't forced.
You were forced?
Who forced
I didn't
you
have
to
any
go to
friends.
prom?
Are you
My mom
assaulted?
forced me to. That was
That's fair.
forced.
Yeah.
That's
Like
fair.
it was just like she was part of the cleaning committee. I didn't want to go, but it's just like, okay, I'll go.
I was
fine.
president. I had to set up the prom.
You were
Suck.
class president
You
too?
were class president? We got 2 class presidents in here?
Scooter's got some competition.
Pernabushka.
Oh,
yeah.
Dak is
Wait a
overrated.
fitty. Wait a fitty.
Whoa.
Wait a
Ready,
fitty.
Bob?
Don't worry. We got plenty to talk about. Then on the left, apparently got all his hairs cut. That's it.
Ah.
The carpenter, the man
Wait.
who made that house from his bare hands with
Y'all
sawdust
wait.
and clay.
This super chat from Alexander says that Brandon called my workouts weak.
Wait.
And by transitive hold on. I'll put this up here. And by transitive property, he called me weak. You're gonna let that stand. Listen,
No,
I've been
actually, I said the
205. Oh,
I said the
okay.
opposite. I said your workout's weak, and yet his biceps are still in perfect shape. Whoa, Scooter.
Oh, Scooter
Oh,
couldn't take
God.
the Cowboys heat.
I said Adam did like 5 curls, and his muscles are bigger than mine.
It's not the volume, it's the weight. That's how
Dad
it
joke.
is.
Look, we got a lot to talk about today. We gotta
Sorry.
get into stuff. Like, what are we doing here?
What? We haven't even introed us yet. We haven't even
I'm
completed
trying.
that.
Attempting
Scooter is
to-
the line monitor right now. Sorry.
So yeah, it's
let Tom
5 point
do his
fits,
thing.
guys. There you go.
Yeah,
Crushed it.
Thank you.
There we go. The Yinzer, who had a very nice weekend now that TJ Watt has returned. Stairs got Super Bowl. One.
They are.
Yeah, I really thought you were going to pull out the crucifix again. and start waving.
Actually, you know what? I won't wait for crucifix. Jesus got Super Bowl.
mean, that's who you
breaking
think.
off.
Do you think?
Who you think after?
Put the crucifix
Do you
down.
think Jesus is a Steelers
No.
fan?
He was, because he would, one of the things he got when the three wise men came, gold. You know what the color of the Steelers is? Black and gold. So it means by proxy, Jesus is a Steeler fan.
What about green?
We travel
and gold?
around the world, baby.
Yeah. What about frankincense? Does frankincense have a color?
I don't know. I know myrrh, I think, has a color.
I think it's frankincense's monster.
No, frankincense is part of the cereal. He's part of Count
Whoa.
Chocula's crew.
This
Now, those
show
are
is
fighting
getting
words,
derailed.
Tom. Those
I
are
don't think I
fighting
did
words.
say that. I might have. I don't think I did. And then finally,
Maybe. Appreciate
the man who was very, very confident that the Dallas Cowboys, coming off a bye, would defeat the Green Bay Packers, who are on a not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5-game losing streak, and yet fell victim to those Packers in overtime. One Scooter Magruder.
Listen, it could have been worse. It could have been worse. Like
Worse,
the
huh?
Eagles could have won as well. But there's always a silver lining.
Don't deflect. Don't deflect. Don't
There's
deflect.
always a silver lining. We'll get into it. I mean, we could talk about. Do we want to lead with this? We can get into whatever you want to get into, Tom. But,
Listen, I would lead with it, but the Cowboys blew a 14-point lead, so I don't know if you wanted to do that. Like, I don't know if that would call
Got
back to it.
here's the thing. Here's the thing.
In the fourth quarter, too.
Here's the thing. It wasn't really just me who was confident the Cowboys were going to win. It was you as well, TDG, Tom
Oh, buddy.
Daniel Grossi.
Oh, buddy.
Because
Here's the difference. I
if
had no
we can
expectations.
roll the tape back, has someone have the clip? Tom, I believe you said verbatim, oh, we're going to get killed. Oh, it's not going to look good. Oh, it's going to be terrible.
Check my
And
notes.
when asked to make a bet, for your team, does someone have the clip for that too? You
I picked the Green Bay
refused
Packers to win.
To make a bet.
Pick the Green Bay Packers.
Listen,
Scooter,
all I know
maybe
is what I
refuse to
heard.
make a bet because you
All I
still
know
haven't
is
paid
what
up
I
from
heard.
last year.
And what I heard was,
Yeah.
no, I do not want to make a bet, and we're going to get killed. They're going to murder us. all I
Bart,
heard.
you're going to have to review the tape. That's all.
But
I
What
gotta
that's
say.
called reverse
we can get into it.
psychology,
Okay,
and
you
that
can
worked.
call it whatever you want.
Because
but,
I told Mike McCarthy, hey, run that football. And he stopped running that football, and it worked great.
we'll get
Yeah.
into
Did
it.
you
We'll get
did you also tell him to kick that field goal in overtime? Did that work? Is that what
It
you
did.
did, Tom?
He did the opposite. He's like, I don't want to be anything like Matt LaFleur. I don't want to kick field goals.
No.
I'm not going to do that.
What was
Oh.
that play call on fourth down? Scooter, give us your live reaction to that. Were you like at first? Were you like, oh yeah, let's go for it, and then they went for it, and then, or were
At
you just
first,
like,
I had to look up the rules to see if you could challenge for pass interference in
No.
overtime because that was a blatant missed call.
You can't challenge pass interference anymore. They tried that for
Yeah,
1
it's
year.
removed.
And
1
the
year.
problem is,
well,
like,
no one changed
no,
their
well,
calls.
there was no blatant pass interference. There was only like 2 calls that got overturned, and one of them, ironically, was in the Steeler game.
Look, we all know that was blatant pass interference.
Sure.
Are we objecting that was a blatant pass interference? Like, did
Well,
we
my-
not see?
I'm
My
sure Tom
argument
has
is it's
something.
not blatant pass interference, but my real issue is that you still blew a 14-point lead and your defense
Hold on.
looked
Are
terrible.
you saying that was not? You're saying that was not blatant pass interference?
There were a lot more than one play in that game.
I'm not
There
talking
was
about
like
any other
60
plays.
some
I'm not
odd
talking about
plays.
the fact that we
There
gave up
was
a
a lot
14
of
point
plays in
lead.
that game.
It's a simple question. Was that
It was
blatant
but-
pass interference?
But it
tree?
wasn't. Box score doesn't say so.
I'm just asking you a simple question.
Okay,
Was
tree.
that blatant
Okay,
pass interference, urinating tree, yes or no?
It depends on the tape, and it depends what your definition of pass interference is.
The answer is yes. It was blatant pass interference. Should we have let them come back 14 points? No. Should we have gone for it on fourth down super fast like that? I'm not sure.
Honestly, what should have happened is on 3rd and 1, you should have ran the ball because you were dominating the rushing game up the middle.
The point is, if we were going to go for it on 4th down, the play before should have been a running call. That's what I'm upset with. But look, we've seen this story with Aaron Rodgers before. This man has a curse on the Dallas Cowboys organization. I cannot wait till he retires. And all this really does is give the Packers false hope because they're not making the playoffs. They're just getting a worse draft pick. And that was their Super Bowl. That was their Super Bowl.
I have to kind of disagree. The NFC East the NFC, just the entire conference after the 2 top-heavy teams,
Shit show.
wide open. If you're 4-4, if you're just 1 or 2 games under,
do we want to make a
500?
bet on this?
No,
Anyone
I don't
up here want to bet the Packers are making it the playoffs? Tom,
honestly,
you wanna make a bet on this?
No, what you should bet is if the Packers lose to the Cowboys in the playoffs, or if the Cowboys lose to the Packers in the playoffs.
Packers are not making the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs. There's too many better teams in the NFC for the Packers to have a chance of making the playoffs at this point.
Okay.
Let's pull up.
What are
let's
these better
pull up
teams?
the rankings.
What?
There's too many good teams. They're not even close to being in the
So
playoffs right now.
who do you
They're
guess?
number 8. They're number 8. They're
Yeah,
number 8.
I mean, they have
7.
one more time. Yeah, you think Washington's better than Green Bay?
Well, I mean, they did.
Speaking of bets,
By record, yes.
I'm just kidding. We don't have one today.
Got him.
I just want to do the wind up. I didn't want to throw the pitch.
No, you balked. We're running runners on first base.
But Tom, we can get into whatever you want to get to. As host, you have free reign. We can
go
talk
ahead.
about whatever you'd like to.
I just found it very amusing that, like, listen, the Packers were on a 5-game losing stretch. It was not looking good. And I'm glad if we got one win this season, it was against the Dallas Cowboys coming off a bye.
That's fair.
That made me feel very good on
Any given
Made
Sunday.
us all feel.
Like the Commanders beat the Eagles. What are we talking about? Anything can happen. This is the
That was
weirdest
also
season
funny. That was also very funny.
So my question is, Scooter, why did Dak Prescott throw 2 really bad picks to Rudy Ford, who hadn't done
They
anything
were
good?
really bad picks. And if you look at the routes, yes, the receivers did not really run to the places they were supposed to. I don't think they're still where they need to be up to speed. Like there's still a little bit things off, but you saw CD got it together in the second half, kind of went off. But yeah, just
Not in the fourth quarter,
miscommunication, miscommunication on a couple plays. That's what happens. Interceptions.
Okay. Before we get into anything, I was punished last week. I'm still working on the Super Bowl shuffle. However, I have another punishment today. A few weeks ago, I was punished and was told to make a Brett Favre apology video. And the thing is, news kept breaking about Brett Favre, whether it was taking money from the poor or it was backing pharmaceutical companies that said that there was a cream that could solve concussions.
Yeah, concussion powder.
It just said like it just never ever end. Go pack pack. So go pack pack. And so with you today, I have Brett Favre exclusive video of him apologizing for all the things that he has done and trying to make amends to the community as a whole. So with that being said, hi, I'm former Vikings quarterback Brett Favre, and you may be thinking, don't I know you from somewhere else? And yes, I did play on the Falcons for a little bit, and of course, I did play on the New York Jets. You also may know me from There's Something About Mary, and also the guy who recommended you those sweet, sweet Wrangler jeans. But unfortunately, I'm not here to talk about any of that today. There's been some reports in the news about money going missing, and by missing, I mean into my wallet, that was meant for the needy. And I'm here to address those rumors today. Now, a lot has been said about me over the years, whether it's been sending pictures of my penis to people who definitely do not want it.
Google image search for big dicks. Just text those. Say it was mine. Yeah. That'll probably work.
I'm ready for my close-up.
Backing pharmaceutical companies who are overstating the efficiency of their product and talking about a concussion cream, or just being a twat waffle in general, but I have a cute southern accent, so I'm able to get away with it. But one thing that has not been covered over my career is the fact that I love college volleyball. And of course, I had no idea that that money was supposed to go towards the needy and impoverished. I would have never ever taken that money from them if I had known. So I'm here today to apologize to you, the state of Mississippi. You can't get that money back, but I can throw a football real good. And so in order to try to restore my image and also make amends, I have decided to partner with a great organization. Now, many of you know me because of football, but what if I was to tell you there's another little sport called football as well? And that's why I'm going to be partnering with Qatar for this FIFA World Cup. A country that has no blemishes on its record, treats their workers fairly, and they are totally alive. So make sure you tune into the World Cup in these coming weeks, and don't forget, buy Copperfit.
Want to see my penis?
Scooter was so offended he left.
He left.
Oh my gosh.
So
That was
Favre,
very funny. And
doing the right thing.
your southern accent sounded like JFK. Like
It's okay to come
for
back
some
out,
reason.
Scooter. You're good.
Like
after.
yes, after after the incident. We don't do these up.
All right, we got lots to talk about.
Yes, we do.
First of all, speaking of the NFC East, let's stay there because Scooter is doing a little bit of a victory lap, not for his team, but for the Philadelphia Eagles, as they did lose to the Washington Commanders. And it seems like the Eagles have now decided to raid a local nursing home and try and fix their abysmal run defense. Thoughts on this, gentlemen?
I'll start. Listen, the Cowboys losing was terrible. It was awful. My phone was blowing up, but a beautiful thing happened the following day, and that was the Eagles lost. It was glorious, actually. They could not stop the run whatsoever. The Commanders used what the Cowboys used to do: control the time of possession, run them until they can't take it anymore, and then run it some more. Honestly, if the Cowboys were using that same strategy, we might have beat the Packers this past week. I digress. They went out and they got Ndamukong Suh to stop this, stop the bleeding. Maybe they can stop the run now. I personally do not think this is going to have any effect whatsoever. Suh is washed. He's not athletic anymore.
Don't forget Linval Joseph, too.
Mm-hmm. Linval Joseph, yes. That's a separate subject. But as far as it pertains to Suh, if Suh was any good, the Cowboys would have signed them. Because we need run help as well. That's how I know Ndamukong Suh is not where he needs to be, because Dan Quinn has an eye for talent. That's why we went out and we signed Tank to help us with the run defense. How are you
Randy
thinking?
Gregory go?
Listen, this game was such an example of what it takes to beat the Eagles. Like, that was the most just kind of false W for the Commanders. The Eagles coughed up the ball 4 times. They got the Commanders got a bunch of favorable calls. Like, that's what it took to beat the Eagles, was a lot of bad luck and a lot of turnovers. And I just don't see that. These are the games that if you're the Eagles, you want to get out of the year, and just get them out of your system. So I saw a very good Eagles team just kind of poopy pants the bed.
I disagree, though.
That's
I disagree
I
because
disagree too.
the Commanders completely controlled the time of possession the whole first half. It wasn't like the Eagles were doing what they wanted. They barely had the ball at all.
The Eagles left 21 points on the board. Like, as soon as they got a deep ball down the field, the dude coughed it up.
It's not even that.
And they still barely won the Commanders.
Washington controlled the ball for 2/3 of the game.
After
They
they
were
coughed
actively
it up.
running games, and you also have to consider that the Eagles couldn't stop them on 3rd and 4th down. They just couldn't. So you know what? Washington had a really solid game plan. You could argue Philly would win this game 99 out of 100 times. But I think Washington had a really solid game plan, both offensively and defensively. I think they took advantage of Philly's overconfidence in the situation. They self-destructed in a lot of instances, like you said. But I think Washington has a chance to go 7-5 in this next stretch because their next 2 opponents, Houston and the Falcons. And then
they get the Giants in back-to-back weeks, sandwiched between a bye. So the way that their schedule works is the Commanders play the Giants, they get a bye, and then they play the Giants. Like, what kind of crap is that? So there's there's no way that the Giants can sweep that. Like, there's no way you can lose one game and have a whole week to think about it and not come back and win it. That is such turd. Who made the schedule?
Whoa.
Turn
Did
again.
Jerry Jones make the schedule?
Never mind.
Again. Here's the thing.
Let us know.
Okay. Eagles got it. They had to lose a game at some point. Got it off the docket. The Eagles having this horrible run defense, the worst run defense we've ever seen, kind of blown out of proportion. The longest rush in that game for the Commanders was 15 yards, and that was Curtis Samuel. All right. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm looking at the wrong game. Damn it! Damn it!
Nobody. No.
Damn you, ESPN!
Yeah. No.
Damn it!
And you
Dang
bitched at
damage.
me for swearing.
Emotional
Damage's not a
damage.
swear. It's in the Bible.
Well, I mean, so is bitch.
it could be considered
It's
offensive.
literally called the Bible.
Well, as long as you don't
thought
tag
that-
a G, if you
Damn
don't
it.
say God in front of it, that's pretty
Yeah,
strong.
I didn't say the G to the D.
Okay, you can say
I
darn
said
it.
just the D.
Okay.
Okay.
Gosh
The
darn
I
it.
bet
second
you
point.
like the D.
My second point.
What?
I think Ndamukong Suh is going to be decent.
Yeah, he's had
Why?
10 games off.
Yeah,
He went
why?
to high school with my wife,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
and I've been to his field that he rebuilt for his high school. It's got his name on it.
Oh. And that's your only reasoning right there?
Thirdly,
Mhm.
okay, here's the third thing. The Commanders, listen carefully.
Okay.
They suck.
They do.
I don't know, man. I think the Commanders are a gritty football team. I think they did beat the Packers, but like they have fought like a bunch, and I don't think anyone gave them a shot. Their defense really showed up against the Eagles, and I think the game plan was perfect. Like what Tree was saying, it's like, hey, let's just not let Jalen Hurts see the field. And the Eagles should have still won that football game, but they turned the ball over a million times.
Mhm.
So I think it's literally like, okay, it was kind of like the old Patriots. It's like, we're just going to run the ball really efficiently. We're going to let our opponents beat themselves, and then we're just going to wrap things up and walk out of here. So, yeah, I think that there are some issues with the Eagles. I still think that they're going to be fine. I still think they're going to make the playoffs, and they're probably still going to be favorites to win the division, depending on how the remaining stretch of their schedule goes. But yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. It also speaks. It really is. This season in particular is just so chaotic, and they're like it. I don't know if there's any really, really good team. Like even the Vikings, like I gave them all the credit in the world, right? They beat the Bills like in a crazy, insane game. Josh Allen
was one of
fumbled
the
on the
good
one,
games.
right? Like
Yeah.
so, like that. When is that ever going to happen? You look at like the Chiefs, and it was a while ago. Like they lost to the Colts. They went toe to toe with the Raiders, and the Raiders almost beat them. And they still won. That's all that matters. You got the W. The point is like all those top three teams, like now the Bills are falling down. It's a weird season. So if there's any kind of truth to that any given Sunday, it is this 2022 NFL season. 100%.
Here's my question to the group. Who's the starting quarterback going forward for
Oh
the
yeah,
Commanders?
that's a good one. Yes.
It's Heineke until he messes it up.
So they haven't. That's a great question because they haven't just come out and said we're rolling with Taylor Heineke for the rest of the year, because probably, and this is my suspicion, because this is the Washington football team, and I don't care if he says he's selling. Dan Snyder is probably meddling a little bit and saying, "Look, we went out and traded for this Wentz guy." And I think you should play him. I don't care if whatever Taylor Heine or whatever his name is doing. I want that Wentz guy out there. There's got to be some type of they're meddling there. Yes.
I
Brandon.
found it.
Yes. What did you find?
Run by the Commanders was even worse. 11 yards.
But that's even
11
worse,
yards.
though. That makes it even worse. That means they
No,
couldn't
it's
get
just-
off the field. They couldn't get off the field, and all they were doing was these short run yards. That to me, that's even worse. There was no big run. You couldn't.
There were a couple
stop
big
30
passes.
short.
There were a
No,
couple
the-
big passes.
The Washington's a team that knows its limitations. Just keep doing the chunk yard runs over and over. We're going to be a little more physical than you on the line of scrimmage. You're without one of your best beastly defensive linemen. And if the
No
Denver
Jordan Davis.
Broncos would just do this, if they would have done it earlier in the season when they could actually get 4 or 5 yards of carry, it would have been very boring football, like a lot of that game was. I just don't think like the Eagles' run defense was as bad as it's getting like slammed for this week.
Well, they ran the ball nearly 50 times.
Yeah, that's
Like,
a lot of
all
runs.
in all, like that's
I'll-
insane. Like
I will
a lot of
say
football
this.
teams-
Teams could go
It's
out and
old
do
school.
that. They just don't because
Do you guys think we've seen now a blueprint on A, how to beat the Cowboys, and B, how to beat the Eagles by literally just running the ball?
What team isn't that this year? Like, there's so many teams that you can just beat by running the football really well.
Exactly, because most teams train themselves to defend the pass. Now everyone's running a cover 2 shell or maybe like a cover 0 where it's strictly man coverage. So now you have these wide open swaths of field. I was watching a conversation between I think Marcus Spears, Dan Orlovsky, and Mia Kimes. And they were talking about how like players nowadays, you don't have those 350-pound super beasts, your Keith Tractor Trailers, or your Ted Washingtons, or your Gilbert Browns, or your Casey Hamptons.
Yeah,
something
good
like that. You
reference.
don't have those guys anymore. So now you have like your Aaron Donalds, your Cam Haywards, who's more like a converted defensive end or an old school defensive end. So now it's like, oh, well, we just run up the gut. And then that's what's happening because there's not really an emphasis on tackling for him. There's not really an emphasis on, zone blitzes or like terms of like 4-3 defense. It's more about protecting the big ball and protecting the pass. So that's why you have a lot of situations where running quarterbacks and teams that emphasize the run do really well.
Yeah. I just want to rewind to something that Scooter said in terms of blueprints. I don't think anybody's blueprint for winning a football game is to be down 2 touchdowns late in the fourth quarter and then somehow pull that out in overtime or count on 4 fumbles or 4 egregiously bad turnovers. Like that's not a blueprint for success. That's what the Raiders, that's their blueprint, and they are not winning very many games.
the Commanders could easily run through Scooter's internet. I know that.
I don't know. I don't know if the Raiders can do that.
Scooter should
Raiders
sign
might
in
not.
Ndamukong Suh. You know what we didn't talk about, Tom, host of the show, was the actual name, the topic of the show.
Yeah,
We still haven't talked.
Not even
We
30
got
minutes
time.
in.
We got
Well,
time.
that's why we call it clickbait. It's why we call it clickbait. Basically.
That's true. We did make all the viewers hang on.
We're not halfway through. I thought that we
Okay.
would do this before we bring on the guest.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay, you do. You run your show. You run your show.
All right, guys, who thinks it'll last longer? There you go. Let's just get out right now. Let's just get out now. So Nathaniel Hackett, Josh McDaniels, I think more than other, is on the hot seat. Someone asked this before, too, in the chat. There was that story that came out that maybe the Raiders are just legit too broke to get rid of Josh McDaniels because of the contract situation, which I think is just really funny. But I'm curious on your take on, like, right now, who do you think is more in trouble? Because both, obviously, fresh hires. I mean, that's tough. Hackett's obviously struggling with Wilson and the Broncos. They also are dealing with every injury under the sun. And then also Josh McDaniels is just a bad coach, but they're in too deep. So, Tree, what do you think goes first? And do any of them go after the season?
Going back to your point about the Raiders being too poor, there is a lot of controversy because the Raiders have several things. Number one, Mark Davis is the poorest owner in terms of net worth in the NFL, which is kind of a rich considering it's probably like $500 million. But he doesn't have the liquidity to afford a buyout of tens of millions of dollars. The only reason why John Gruden was gone was because it was for a cause. He didn't have to pay him. And secondly, most of that liquidity is tied up in their loan with the Bank of America. They put it to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. I know Clark County in Las Vegas, they donated $500 million to that cause, but they still have a significant chunk that's owed to the Bank of America. So that, in my personal opinion, is why Nathaniel Hackett is going to be falling off the boat first. Because look at the owner of the Denver Broncos now. It's the Waltons. They got that Walmart money. And you know what Walmart does if there's a product that does not perform to plan? They chuck it out the window. They're selling that stuff all the way to some poor children in Africa because it does not work out. And that's where Nathaniel Hackett's going. He's going to a third-tier football team in Botswana, and not real American football. I'm talking football.
Soccer?
I
Yes.
would.
He's gonna be Ted Lasso. Scooter, what do you think?
I honestly think it's gonna be neither. I think both of them survive the whole season, and I think both of them last at least one more season. Personally, it's too quick to cut someone you just signed like this. At least as it pertains to Nathaniel Hackett. They both are not doing that well. I'll say that. But if I had to wager which one is the first to go 2 seasons down the line, 3 seasons down the line, after this season, I'm putting my money on McDaniels being gone first. Just because he's more known. He's more known what you get. Nathaniel Hackett is still an uncertain. Like, we still don't really know what's happening. He could just be off for the first couple of games. We don't really know. We know what we get with Josh McDaniels, and it's not good. It's never good. Anywhere he's been, he's better as a coordinator, not as a head coach. And that's just how it is for a lot of people in the league. I don't know about Hackett, though. The jury's still out.
5?
I was sort of leaning towards McDaniels getting fired because Hackett actually has the most potential to actually right the ship, right? McDaniels has none, because now that they're at 2-7, they're talking about just and he's gotten the vote of he's been told that no matter what he does, he's coming back next year. He is going to just openly tank right now. They might not get another win for the rest, or they'll get some fluke win. And then there's going to be roster turnover next year. Like, Derek Carr might not be there. It's going to be a completely devastated and decimated roster. Like, McDaniels has excuses. Hackett doesn't really have any excuses. They went out and traded for Russell Wilson. They hyped this team up. They have an offense. Well, they supposedly had an offense. They supposedly had a defense. Hackett, he doesn't have many excuses for why they're doing bad. At least McDaniels has the injuries and other things that he can point to. But I think they both suck.
What team are you talking about right now?
What?
The Broncos literally have like me starting as one of their offensive linemen. Their defense is like the best in the league.
Well, for the expectation for the
running
Broncos
back
and
one, IR. Jerry Jeudy out last game.
Tim Patrick.
Okay.
Tim Patrick. IR. KJ
No.
Hamler did not play last game.
IR.
KJ Hamler going to
Give
miss
us
some
Randy
time.
Gregory back, bro.
Left tackle on IR.
Yep.
Didn't even have a right tackle to start
Okay.
the
Okay. You're
season.
naming all these
Third
injuries.
string right tackle. Third string center. We had we traded away Bradley Chubb. Randy Gregory on IR. Baron Browning not playing. Those are 3 edge players. We are literally one of the most injured teams in the
Actually,
league now.
you are the most injured
Phil.
team, allegedly, so you are correct.
Yeah, but how
I
many
thought it
wins-
was the Chargers, but it's
Okay.
it's-
We
Injuries
win
aside.
excuses.
In-
Excuses.
Injuries aside, how many wins has Hackett as a coach cost you? Would you
I
say
don't know, a couple.
at least
like
3?
3 or 4.
At least 3 because of Hackett's
Two,
coaching.
Yeah, no, he the Broncos do have excuses, but he's also been bad. So what do you do about that? I don't know.
Well, see, that's the thing. I feel like Kern, again, you give your take and then we'll talk, because obviously you have the most experience with this.
No, it's weird. Like, I'm at a point where I don't know what's what, guys. I don't know. I don't have a clue what's going on with this team, because this morning or last night, I forget, Tyler Columbus, who used to play for the Broncos, works for radio out here, connected to the team, still goes on the radio, and he says that he's had this nugget of information for a little while, was waiting to get like multiple confirmations about it, and now he feels comfortable sharing it. And that he said that Russell Wilson doesn't have a solid grasp of the offense, and that he's calling audibles that were audibles for the Seattle Seahawks, and that he doesn't know what he's doing. Also, that him and Hackett don't agree on the play calls that should be called during the game. And then today, offensive lineman Dalton Reisner said that none of that is true, that they've known everything that Russ has called at the line for audibles. Not sure who to believe here. Is that just a lineman sticking up for his teammate, trying to squash some rumors? Don't know. What we do know is nothing's working. Also, what we do know is the massive touchdown pass from the last game was an audible that Russell Wilson did call. So it's like, I can't even tell you how much of it is Russ, how much of it is Hackett, how much of it is protection being horrible, how much of it is, it's all of these things. But if you're trying to make an educated decision as a GM on what you do after this season, you have not a clear picture of what is costing your team win after win after win. Long-winded way of saying I have never felt less confident about understanding my football team ever in my entire life than I do right now.
Even during the Josh McDaniels era.
Yeah, because he tricked us because we went 6-0. We went 6-0.
What kind of trauma?
We're like, man, all right. And then the next season, we're like, this guy sucks. And the reports about Josh McDaniels and all the players hating him got, heavier and heavier and heavier. And
players aren't invested.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
You bring up an interesting point, though, Brandon, because what do you do if you are Russell Westbrook?
Russell Wilson.
Always.
Every time.
LeBron was good.
But what happens if you're Russell Wilson and you don't agree with the plays that are being called by Nathaniel Hackett, a coach who really hasn't proven you should listen to him? He's staying.
And all right, that's a smooth segue into the next segment right there.
That sounded like the Cowboys as they collapsed in the fourth quarter.
That was Mike McCarthy's decision making late. Right there.
We do have a guest today, a first timer. Five, would you like to introduce our guest today?
Yes. And now the remnants of Scooter's remaining speech is coming through. He's still continually talking.
It's like that movie Contact.
Yes. He's contacting us from the afterlife. All right. If you've ever been on Twitter and you are a sports pontificator, you should know about an account called Old Takes Exposed, where very bad predictions, very bad takes are retweeted out to the world moments after they are instantly wrong by one man, Fred Siegel, who is joining us today. Hey, Fred, how you doing?
Hey, I see
Welcome
a lot
to
of.
the
I didn't
show.
know it was going to be all these different. I know urinating tree is on my feed a lot.
I know. I know one in particular.
Scooter, of course.
Yes.
I didn't know Scooter was here, but
Yeah, he's having internet issues. So I guess we have a set of questions here that we're going to ask you, and then you also have a book coming out, or that you've already released, and we'll talk about that at the end. I guess the first question is: Do you specifically remember anyone you have exposed out of the three of us, and who's your favorite to expose out of us?
Oh, Lord.
well, I know that urinating tree is on my feed a lot. Especially there's a lot of. There was one about the.
Was it the lightning one?
Lightning,
Oh, dude,
you got dunked on very hard.
Oh, dude, that one was just out of frustration because they had
Yeah.
years of just like blowing games, and I'm like, fuck, just blow it up, blow it up.
Yeah, the lightning one was great. There's a lot of. I mean, it seems as if you go on these. You write these long, like tweets about like very very detailed, with significant bold, prognostications or analysis that, and if it doesn't turn out that way, it's really something I'll get tagged to a lot. Now Scooter Magruder is different. You have to kind of decipher what he's doing because you do have that shtick where you just every single game or before the game about the team that you support, you'll say they're going to win. And I don't use those because it's not it's just I'm not going to use it like every game that team loses, I'm going to have to like post something. It just doesn't. It's less genuine, more gimmick. You know, it's like one of your things. Which is fine, but I just won't use that. It doesn't seem as genuine as it takes. Like you don't actually believe that
Fred. Buddy. He does.
What do you mean?
That's the problem.
Hold on, what do you mean?
Yeah.
He believes.
You actually believe the Cowboys are going to make the Super Bowl every single year.
Oh,
Like,
no.
By the time,
He does.
No, mid-season, and got McCarthy there. I mean, like genuine belief is not.
Fred, listen. I got to tell you something, Fred. I have to tell you something.
What?
As long as the Dallas Cowboys are in the NFC East, we have a chance of winning the Super Bowl.
Oh, a chance. That's okay. But you say they're going to win the Super Bowl.
1 out of 32.
Because I believe we are every single year. We are in the NFC East, Fred.
You're in the NFC East.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, you're in the NFC, which is easier to make the Super Bowl, which means that you're not out of it. Which is why, like when Tom Brady was like 3-5, you knew that you knew he was going to make the playoffs this year, no matter what.
Here's my question, though, Fred. Here's my question to you, right? Has there ever been any blowback from someone big who's like tried to come for you and said, delete that or else?
No, I've never had it or else. I've never had it or else, but I do get sometimes in my DM somebody who wants me to delete what they posted or delete my post about them or delete the retweet. And I usually do it because
you oblige?
Well, it depends on who it is. Most of the time, it's someone who doesn't seem like an asshole. Now, if it's somebody who I rarely get it from somebody who dishes it out. So, like, if a person is is very outspoken, they're very quick to criticize, or they're just like they post things in order to rile up someone else or rile up a fan base. Then those people normally are not going to ask me to delete theirs. Because they know that would be like very hypocritical, given the way that they act. But sometimes
one thing I will say,
I'm getting harassed or something like that, and I'm saying fine because I'm not really here to make people miserable.
Here's one thing that I will say about Twitter and just about social media in general that sort of plays to your hand and what you do, Fred. If you're going to be a personality, you have to make these bold predictions. You have to put yourself out there. So that's why I don't mind when I end up on your page, because look, there's not too many other people predicting some of the things that I'm predicting. So when something does hit, it makes it all.
There's very few delusional Cowboys fans.
I'm not even talking about Cowboys, but like I'm not even talking about Cowboys because we can take it like Orlando Magic. We can take it Florida Gators.
The Orlando Magic. Well, the Orlando Magic's going to win the title. You do not believe that.
Who doesn't? You cannot.
I do believe
you really believe the Magic.
Yeah, or the Gators are going to win the SEC.
Have you seen Bobo?
It's a problem.
But my point is this: you have to make at some points some very bold claims. Otherwise, who cares?
Tom's never been exposed.
I agree with it.
With what everyone else is doing, who cares?
No, I know. I mean, like when you're watching something or you're talking on, well, it's going to be a good game. I think that both teams have good different elements that could make it good. It'll be close. I can't tell you who's going to win. No, that's not going to. Nobody's going to watch that. You're right. No, I understand that, and I'm fine with it. I just like in terms of posting it on my feed. I'm posting things on my feed. I tend to shy away from things that people do every time. Now, the host, the Vikings PA guy, or the Vikings play-by-play guy has a similar thing. He posts that the Vikings are going to win every game, and he says that the other team's going to get killed or something like that. So I'm not going to do that, Yvonne, because he does it every time. So it's not like it's something that it seems more of an objective thing that they do. Who
are your teams that you like?
Oh, I went to University of Florida. I love the Gators, like you.
Oh, he's a Gator.
Yeah.
I knew that.
All your Gator stuff. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I'm from South Florida. I'm from Miami, so I like the Dolphins. I like the Heat. I guess if I'm watching hockey, I'll root for the Panthers. I don't know anyone other. I don't watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so if
That's a
you like
sad
the
team.
Dolphins, you like the Dolphins.
And,
Before you leave us, we need you to make a bold prediction
Okay.
about the Miami Dolphins
Oh,
that we can clip
Yes.
and
yes.
post on
Put it
our
record. We're
channel
gonna have receipts.
Sounds
if
good.
it doesn't come true.
I'm
All
about
right.
to shoot a Tua video, so this could be perfect.
Give us your bold take about the Dolphins this year, Fred. What are they going to do?
Well, they're in the AFC, so they probably aren't going to win the division.
Fred's gonna be like, well, they're two good teams. You
Yeah,
know,
well,
they're
yeah.
really
Yeah,
good.
He's gonna give the most lawyer response.
Tua's going to win the MVP.
Ooh.
Hey.
I mean, that is not actually a hot take. He's really good.
Hot take.
No, that's not a hot take at all. You see the
He's really
difference when
good.
he's out
That's
and
a
how
bold
they
take.
play when he's
Yeah, but
in
there's
there.
so many
Like,
MVP candidates. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like MVP necessarily, like every year there should be the same guys. If you're talking valuable, talking about the guys you say, "Oh fuck, we're fucked." If you get hurt, am I allowed to say that in this?
we usually censor it, but for you, it's okay. I didn't
Okay,
tell you not
I
to.
thought it was
cut.
like-
I have to
I
censor that he
should
does
have.
it.
I should have told him before that I get an old
I
takes
thought-
exposed
okay,
for
so
that.
say like we're screwed if we're totally screwed if this person gets hurt. Two is one of them, like Josh Allen, Mahomes, all those guys. That the season's over. So I mean, I think two is one of those guys. When Dolphins absolutely just weren't even close to winning when he was hurt.
It was ugly.
Do you have like a preference of a take? Do you like when it's almost instantly bad? So like all the Jalen Hurts ones that were this week, or do you like the slow play where it's a couple years in the making and then you find the nugget and post it? Like I saw the Gronkowski, CJ Spiller one.
Yeah,
on your Twitter.
Well, that was a good one from an article. But they wrote the draft. I think it was Greg Easterbrook. He was writing about the draft. He was talking about how the Patriots should have traded all those picks up to get CJ Spiller. Spiller was drafted top 10, and they picked Gronkowski in the second round. Everybody loved Gronkowski, but he was hurt. He didn't play the entire season at Arizona. So that's what really kind of moved him to the second round. But and Easterbrook's like, well, that's not going to be scary to any defensive coordinator. But I like finding old ones like that. But I really like the ones that are. It doesn't matter the timing of it. It has to be like just so like the tinge of snark and cockiness. And
yeah, the hubris is what gets them.
The cockiness, and it's just completely off. Like Roger Sherman about Josh Allen. So he saw his percentage in college and his completion percentage in college. And it was just like, it's the stupidest pick of the draft by far, just by looking at the completion percentage. No guy ever who's thrown 50% in college could ever be good in the NFL. So that's
See that. I love what you're doing, Fred, because I see, every week these pontificators, they make horrible predictions or they pick against the team and no one ever holds them accountable ever. Like some guy will go 0 for 24 for the whole year and no one ever adds and tabulates that up and says, dude, you're terrible at predictions, because we just forget. We're just dumb. And so I love that you call people out. Is there a joke or a trope that you're the most tired of, that you're just like,
oh yeah.
Is there something that you're just had enough of?
I've had enough of people tagging me to the tweets where players like does a dance, like a cool dance, or dresses good, like comes in wearing a nice outfit on the walk towards on the walk to the stadium, and they show it, and then everyone quote tweets and says, team by 100, team by 1,000,000. And I'll get tagged to that. Like, that's not serious. That's just like the least serious thing. It has nothing to do with anything. I think it was Jalen Hurts had it. Jalen Hurts wore some sort of thing on Thursday, or was it Monday night? And everyone, oh God, no way. The Eagles by 10 million now. just because of what he was wearing. Sometimes someone like some Tennessee weird guy did a dance. So they were definitely going to beat Georgia.
The Bulldog looks tired.
I don't know if you've answered this already, so you don't let me know if you have. But how did you even get started doing this? What was the inspiration? How did it blow up to the point that now you're about to come out with a book?
Well, it was just like what happened was I started it, like it was like 2015 or something. And I did it as a counter to like sports media folks on Twitter reposting their accurate predictions with self-congratulatory messages to themselves. And I said to myself, someone should be the person to repost tweets and quotes where some of the same media people turned out to be wrong.
So this was an original idea. You hadn't seen anyone do this before. You just thought in your head.
Right. The Twitter search function was not like, it wasn't being used that much back then. It wasn't like, it was kind of like a novelty thing. I was an attorney at the time, so I was always doing these searches for case law on these things called LexisNexis and Westlaw. There's database for cases, and you have to use these specific search terms, and you get kind of creative with the term and the dates and everything like that. And a lot of the same terms for those searches were kind of in the Twitter search function. So I figured out quickly how to navigate through that, and I was able to find some stuff right away, and that was really kind of the way I figured out how to use that. Like coach got fired, and you just look up on like Wikipedia or something the day that coach got hired, and you type in that coach's name, and then it put the date of the tweets from that day, and it's all this like, oh, what a hire,
gold. Yeah, it's all gold.
He's buddies with all these. The media people are buddies with all these assistant coaches or coaches that they get hired, and they've had a long discussion. They like them personally, so they love saying it was a great hire.
So
you'll get
when
so many
was
great
it
hire stuff
along this journey? When was it that you knew, I got something, I'm onto something, this is something that people like, I might be able to monetize this somewhere down the line? Mm-hmm. Were you even thinking like that initially when you started?
No. God, no. I wasn't even thinking. I was thinking I'll post like 3 a day. I was working long hours at the time. I was working 10 hours a day. I think I post like 3 a day, and that's it. What happened is that it started catching on to like local news, local radio would see it and talk about it on their show. I get like 50 followers in one pocket of time. I realized what happened. Someone said it on local radio, and it eventually got to where I got like 2,000 followers, and then Sports Illustrated wrote something on it. Like they contacted me and wrote something about it. It was not on Sports Illustrated magazine, but sportsillustrated.com. And then when it was posted like 5 times by the Sports Illustrated writer, and that writer had 1 million people in the media who followed him. And so when he posted on Twitter, you didn't really like retweet your own tweets then. You'd repost the same article 5 times. That's what like media used to do. And so every time they posted my count, and it just kept going up and up and up and up and up. And then finally, by the end, like 3 days after that article came out, and this was like February 2016, I was like from 2,000 followers to like 15,000.
Wow.
Which was huge then. 15,000 was like.
Yeah. Back in the day, 2000.
Yeah. So
it was a weird time on Twitter, by the way.
Yeah. So that's what happened. And then at that point, because everyone was asking to interview me, I knew that it was going to be much more popular than it was. So that's really the official time with it.
Has anyone ever approached you to buy your accounts from you? Said, let me take over. And would you ever? Is there a number? You're like, hey, look, you give me this, I'm out. I'm out of the game. It's all yours.
I've never been offered that number, but
but you have.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely numbers I would just say, yeah, sure, take it. But I like doing it, and I just don't. It really is something that it would be hard to let go of. I just feel as if the way I do it now probably don't capitalize as much as people who want to buy it will, but they'll turn it into something more corporate type thing. A lot of promotions, a lot of videos of things like just hot take videos, things like that. It's hard for me to let go of it in that way. Now,
What's your
of course,
number?
a certain amount of money would just be like,
What's the
What's your
number?
number? Yeah, what is your number? What
no,
is
I don't know.
how
Body
much
count.
money
Oh,
can
dude.
I
No way.
right now?
I'm not going to say it because then I'm not going to say it because then
We'll DM. We'll DM.
no,
Yeah.
no.
All
Oh,
right.
you want
Scooter's
it?
like, I'm never being retweeted again.
Right,
Fred, you
we
got
got-
your number now.
Yeah. How much can I bribe you to not expose
Yeah.
me anymore? All right, Fred, we got to wrap up. Why don't you tell us about the book? What's it about and where our
Okay,
viewers
yeah.
can get it?
Well, this
And,
book, my book, Freezing Cold Takes NFL, it came out in August. I released it in August. It took me 2 years to write it, so it was it was kind of like a project that was for a long time. It took a long time to actually do it, but it was something that I really wanted to do, and it really is a book. Just basically, it's like a hodgepodge of cold takes, like an encyclopedia.
Am I in this?
And it
Oh, don't pump yourself up that well, Scott.
yeah. Come on now.
Okay,
Scooter.
You're in it.
Uh-huh.
Scooter's gonna change his bio
Fred,
to publish.
Fred, quick question. What is your favorite cold take of all time?
Oh God, I don't know. Probably. Greg Bedard said 2010. He said this Rob Gronkowski. Oh, the Patriots are interested in Arizona tight end Gronkowski. I don't see it at all. I don't see it. But yeah. So the book basically is like historic. It's not really a historical extension of my Twitter feed. It's really not like just straight up list of bad tweets and quotes. I wanted to write some about the famous individual ill-fated quotes, not just about the backlash, but what was going on at the time. So they're really like stories, just stories of there's one chapter about Bill Belichick when he was hired, and just a full story.
That's probably loaded right there.
That's
When
gold.
the Steelers were about to fire Bill Cowher, and everyone wanted to fire him, and they wanted to keep the general manager. There's a chapter on that. A chapter on the Cowboys. A great chapter on the Cowboys. Scooter would love history, historically, especially the Herschel Walker trades featured in that chapter. A lot of stuff on the Troy Aikman and just the hiring of Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones coming in, taking over the team, hiring Jimmy Johnson, stuff like that.
And where can people buy this book?
Amazon.com. It's right there on Amazon.com. It's called Freezing Cold Takes NFL. You can look up right on Amazon.com. You can go on my Twitter feed at Old Takes Exposed, and the link is on the pinned tweet. It's a great. I'm telling you, fathers who love football, like you want to get something for your dad for Christmas or holidays. It's I've talked to many of people who just say, "Oh my God, it's a great I remember that from the history of the 49ers and the Packers. Oh, this is just brings back great memories. I didn't even know this happened. I have a lot of facts there. It was just like 1,000 citations in the back of it, about 500 cold takes, just all conjunctive stories. So
nice.
It was a fun thing to do, and hopefully I'll get to do some on other sports.
Well, Fred, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. And I just want to request that you show none of us sympathy when we make bad
I don't blame.
takes.
I mean, dude, I don't blame.
Go all out. We're not.
Cowboys
This
are
is not a PR thing where we're trying to get in your good
Eagles-
graces. I want everyone to get it as hard as possible.
Do you want the Eagles? What if the Eagles win the Super Bowl?
Absolutely.
Uh-oh.
The Eagles have won as many Super Bowls as they're going to win in my lifetime. That's it.
All right. Well, we appreciate you
Clip
coming
that.
on and being
you,
on
Frank.
time. And hopefully, maybe we'll do something in the future.
Yes.
But
Gators,
thanks for
Fred.
coming on.
Anytime.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Fred.
All right.
Yeah, take care.
Also, if you're interested in the basketball realm, updated news from Shem Sharamia, Kyrie Irving is eligible to be reinstated this Sunday.
Oh.
Ooh. I waited till he left to
What?
show him this thumbnail from my Russell Wilson.
I was very
Did not want him to see that.
Whoa, what just happened? Oh my goodness.
That was the punishment that he was talking about.
Oh my God.
Let's go. Let's go to the countdown. Let's go to the countdown before
Get
something
the
else weird
countdown
happens.
in. Get the countdown.
Go to the countdown right now.
497.
He's gonna be booping while you're doing the rap.
That's a lot of money.
Why? 2019. I just lost last week.
Well, too bad.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh
then
my
Tom's
God.
gonna
Beating
lose.
the Cowboys.
I'm just
Giant
making
loser.
enough time because Tom has lost his mind.
I was doing
Baby,
so
he's
well.
losing his mind because I'm
I was
going
doing so
wild.
well.
Yeah. You get
Let's
what you
go.
effing deserve.
Wow.
I'll start 269.97.
75-91. I have lost.
I'm 40-49. Loman. I get the Loman Award. The Losman Trophy.
Wow, Beast of Metal, thank you so much because I was at $512.
What?
I was at $400. I was at $4, and now I'm at $957.71.
Oh no!
What's the
957.
punishment?
Oh,
I think
no.
if you donate that much, you get to
Oh
pick the
my
punishment.
God.
What was-
Is it the one? The runner-up last week was the Kirk Cousins thing.
Well, there's
Do I have to do a
another
show as
one.
Kirk
I
Cousins?
thought you were doing both for the Super Bowl Shuffle.
I was just gonna do all the teams from the north. I thought.
I thought Beastie wanted you to dress like emo or something. What just
There was
happened?
another one proposed to me that people wanted to see. Dang it, where is this? Tom Grossi recreate this, but it is 2 straight minutes of.
Oh no!
Amon, rah, 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 St. Brown.
2 straight minutes, as long as the video can be to fit on Twitter, basically.
Of you just
I
saying
don't-
Amon rah 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 rah
I
rah.
don't-
rah.
Tom's got to resurrect.
I don't dislike it.
St. Brown.
I did
That was
see
16
someone in the
seconds.
comments comment he has to stream tonight's game
Oh yeah,
dressed
Kirk Thuggins.
as Kirk Cousins.
That's
I
Kirk
don't have
Thuggins.
I don't have the stuff tonight.
Oh, you don't have the
Oh
Kirk-
yeah.
I know
No,
I don't have a bunch of chains and a Kirk Cousins jersey lying.
You could
around
go
in
out to
my-
Why?
Walmart right now. You could
Why
go
don't you
right
have that,
now to
huh?
Walmart. You just need to be shirtless. That's all you need to do.
Can you even stream shirtless on YouTube?
I don't know if you can. I don't know if
I
you
don't
can.
know. Is that?
Well,
Yeah, I
it
think that
depends
is-
on who it is. I mean, if
Yeah.
it's like you have a decent body, you'll be okay. If it's like me, I'm getting banned in 5 minutes.
So, what we got here? Are we remaking the Kirk
Amon saying
Thuggins
raw, I feel like is not commiserable with
for
the
$900? I think Kirk
Fair enough.
Thuggins is. I think Kirk. What does Beastie say?
Is
mean, he made the
commiserable a
donation.
word?
It was this. It was like because they lost to all 3 New York teams.
Okay.
A certain fan of theirs did state their punishment should be implemented if this happened. So 97 equals calendar year of Super Bowl. Yeah, 31-17. Both Josh Allen 2017 Bills season. So there's not a punishment there.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So
He's
I mean,
big
Han,
into
Beast, if you
numerology.
got it, if you got it, buddy, like just
yeah. I think Kirk Thuggins is the thing. There's also
Did-
this thing that he wants Perna to dress up like as an emo kid with the makeup and everything. Mhm. Very
So
specific
what is-
outfit.
Does Grossi have to be Kirk for a whole episode of Clickbait? Is that what the thing is?
Ooh, yeah, I think so. I
Kirk
think so.
Thuggins.
Mhm.
I'll make sure I don't turn my heat on that day.
You can wear a wife beater. I think that would be
just so I don't get
acceptable.
people's channels taken off.
Yes.
We
All
don't
right.
want to
Kirk-
introduce
Kirk
people to homo
Thuggins
rights.
as an entire episode. That's worth
Yeah,
it.
get 2 Viking stickers to put over your nipples.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's a
that
little
must be
kinky.
included.
All right,
Very
we got to
true.
get out.
Okay.
Yeah,
I always
yeah.
think about nipples.
Perna, what
Before
do you got
we,
coming out?
I dropped a XFL update video because they just had their draft. So please go watch that because it is banging at 10 out of 10 right now.
Yeah.
I'm desperate. I'm a
I need
desperate.
the rage to come back.
5.
Oh, me? Oh. I've got a Josh McDaniels video, Buyer's Remorse. Josh McDaniels coming out right after this. Right after this show.
Well, ironically, I also have something coming out right after the show. Vikings Bills greatest game. We're going to be in competition 5.
Oh yeah, we have the same audience, so it's,
And after that,
well,
after you
they'll
watch
watch
both
it.
of their videos, give me like 2 to 3 hours to finish the college reaction video from last week. Yeah.
There you
Thomas.
go.
What's coming up?
Packers Titans streaming at 8 p.m. Right after that, Packers fan reaction, and then Packers post game GPS.
Oh yeah,
tomorrow.
who's gonna win this game tonight? Real
Green
quick.
Bay, Packers.
Titans.
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 Oh,
Titans.
by the way, before we leave, shout out to the people in Buffalo. You're getting a lot of snow this weekend.
Yes.
Stay safe, stay warm, and don't do anything stupid in the snow. I know Buffalo's pretty big on that, but I'm just saying, stay safe for all of us.
And thanks again to Fred for coming on.
Yes.
Go Gators.
Go buy his book.
Yes.
All right.